Let's everybody stand and do Magic Penny. Love is something if you give it away, give it away, give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you end up having more. It's just like a magic penny, holding tight and you won't have any. Land expanded and you have so many, you roll all over the floor. So love is something if you give it away, give it away, give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you end up having more. So let's go dancing till the break of day, and if there's a piper we can pay. So love is something if you give it away, you end up having more. Love is something if you give it away, give it away, give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you end up having more. Great.
Hollywood's looking for us.
Well, then he has two, you have two all. I'll pick that.
Good morning.
Good morning.
For those that don't know me, I'm Nora Clemens.
Hi, Nora.
This is my first time being platform assistant. Good thing I had 4 years of Toastmaster, so I'll be comfortable standing up in front of everybody. So I'd like to welcome everyone and find out if there's anybody new here for the first time today.
I'm Angie.
Hi, Angie.
Angie, did you get a red heart?
No.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh. Well, one's on its way.
That's for
Is there anybody else?
That's my daughter, Rosie.
Oh, okay. Did you get a red heart, Rosie?
No.
Oh,
Thank you.
Well, welcome. So we're going to start with thanking everybody that's part of our team today. We'll start with our musicians, Sally and Jamie McAllister.
Yay.
Guys rock.
Our hospitality team, Mary Ellen and Ann Miller. Getting things together as we speak. And our ushers, Ron and Debbie. And Debbie is also our board person of the week. And let's see who else. Our Sunday school teacher, Cindy. Yay. And of course, we couldn't do all this without Mark. So now the musicians are ready to do their heart song.
I send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my joy into the heavens. I send my joy into the sea. I send my joy into the mountains, and it returns to me. I send my peace into the mountains. I send my peace into the the sea. I send my peace into the mountains, and it returns to me. I send my laughter into the mountains. I send my laughter into the sea. I send my laughter into the mountains, and it returns to me.
Thank you, Sally and Jamie. If you are new here today at Unity of Bremerton, we welcome you in the spirit of love. We want you to know, no matter where you are on your journey of faith, you are always welcome here. We know the world is a better place when you are willing to share our hearts. We give you this heart in the symbol of steadfast spirit that lives within each of us, and we ask you to carry this symbol as a member of the Red Heart Fellowship. Let it be a reminder that the love of God is always with you, and to share your heart wherever you go. The red heart is a symbol of fellowship in the world. It can spread love from one heart at a time. Let's start the movement here. And I want to share a story of these red hearts. When Rosella first passed these out, the first time I took one home, and I was taking it out of my pocket and putting it away, my grandson saw it and decided he needed it. He was 5 at the time and he's 6 now. Well, for the last 3 weeks, him and his brother have been out at their other grandparents' house, and they were over the other day, and he had that red heart on his table still, his nightstand, and I found it and asked him if he wanted to take it and take it to his other grandmother and give it to her, and he says, "No, Grandma, I need to leave that here with you because I love you so much." Now this is a boy that 3 weeks ago when I'd tease him and say, "I love you," he'd say, "I don't love you, Grandma." But I'd say, "Yes, you do." Now he says, "I love you," and he said I needed that red heart for me. And you know, kids just know things. In our Unity happenings, we have lots of stuff that just regular stuff. Next week on the 28th, Rosella will be here to do her Thanks for the Memories Goodbye talk. And then on June 4th, Joanna Gabriel will be here. And on June 6th, which is the first Tuesday of the month, Suzanne O'Clair will be here doing her new Moon Circle Spiritual Star Talks. Includes a mini reading. And then on the 10th of June is the Saturday, and that's our Women's Spring Luncheon. And so we want to, every women sign up for that. And it's a potluck, so be thinking about what you might want to bring. And that was fun last year, so it's time for another one. And then on August 20th, now you have plenty of advance notice to take the day off work or just not schedule anything else, is our annual picnic at NAD Park, and it's always fun. There's a playground for kids, and it's shady and nice and close by, so nobody has to drive way out of their way. And now for our board. Oh, there's always the Course in Miracles, which is Thursday nights at 7. And I attended for the first time this week, and it was very nice.
Good morning, everybody. My name's Debbie Lee. I'm your newest board member, and this is my first time of providing the board announcements. So thank you for your warm smiles. The Flowers to Go certificates are available for purchase through May 30th, so one more week. If you would like to share this wonderful gift with people you know, please take an order form. People can also order certificates from our website. This event is posted on the Unity of Bremerton Facebook page, and you can share that event on your page too. If you have questions on how to do that, please talk to Cindy. As a reminder, again, we already mentioned the park, the NAD Park for the annual picnic, so I won't say that again. And if anyone else is interested in joining the platform team, please see Cindy. We need more volunteers there. And then another loving reminder is that if you would like to hear the daily word more often than on Sundays, you can call the church phone 360-479-1758 and hear our lovely Marilyn. We also post the daily word on our Facebook page and Twitter, so you can follow it there. We also post events and other updates on Facebook, videos of each Sunday service and the Sunday message. And when available, the Sunday meditations are all available on Facebook and YouTube. So we're in social media groove. We're cool. We also have a weekly e-blast newsletter that provides current and future events. If you are interested in receiving the weekly e-blast, you can sign up on our website. That's www.unityofbremerton.org, or fill out the e-blast newsletter sign-up sheet in the fellowship area. So the next topic is regarding our membership renewal, and those forms are available in the fellowship area. We need the forms completed and turned in no later than June 15th. This is our effort to identify who we are as a membership and to get the records updated. A suggestion box is now in the fellowship area. If you have any ideas or suggestions for guest speakers, guest musicians, or events that you would like to see, or any other suggestions, please write them and put them in the box. If you want a response, please include your name and contact information. The board will review them at the next board meeting. And then today is the next board meeting, so if you have any ideas today, please pop it in there and we'll take a look at it this afternoon. And then, as you know, a few weeks ago we had that Hopcoff meeting, and that event was wonderful. And out of that event, we developed 2 teams. Technology was one committee and attendance was the other. The technology team is working on addressing the technology needs we have for providing the live streaming and recording of our Sunday services. The projector is fading, and it will need to be replaced pretty soon. Many of you may not know, and this was a real surprise to me, that Mark and Cindy are using their own video equipment for our services and for putting them online. And we really need to thank them for their generosity in that regard. But I think the church really should have its own equipment. And so the technology team is working together to find ways to raise funds so we can purchase our own equipment and the equipment that needs to be replaced. And with that, there are envelopes in your chairs. It says Admiral Theater, but that's to bring your attention to it. And if you're interested in making a donation towards the technology fund, you can please use these envelopes. The attendance committee is working on several projects and ideas to enrich and grow our congregation. The attendance committee is looking at how we welcome newcomers, how we share information amongst ourselves and with the community, coordinating volunteers for various committees, organizing future events, and providing our finance reserves. If you are interested in signing up for one of these committees, please use the sign-up sheets in the fellowship area. The board will continue to update you weekly. The board is meeting today. If you have any questions or concerns, please see a board member. Thank you.
Thank you, Denise. And we are also part of one of the committees is planning starting the movie nights again. And so stay tuned for more. Once we decide on a date in the movie, then we will let you know. We're going to light the Christ candle. It represents the divine light within each of us. Those things don't usually work for me. So now we'll say our statement of faith together.
There is one presence and one power, active in the universe and in my life, God the good, omnipotent.
So now it's time for handshakes and hugs. Debbie likes to remind everybody to keep it brief, but I'm not going to do that.
I don't know if Laura will record. All right. Yeah, my
Nobody ever says hi to So nice to see you. Hi,
Leg surgery.
I like your spot. Good to see you. It was so great. I pulled in.
Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for my health, Spirit. Thank you for my health. Thank you for my health, Spirit. Thank you for my health. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for my life, Spirit. Thank you for my life. Thank you for my life, Spirit. Thank you for my life. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day.
Today's daily word, divine order. I appreciate the divine order and clarity expressing in every part of my life. There is a satisfaction in feeling that my own ego mind is in control of the events in my life, today and for days to come. However, there is a deeper, richer satisfaction that I experience when I surrender to the loving power that causes everything in the universe to flow and express in order and harmony. In that surrender, I release my own limited efforts to organize my life. There is one power, and I am part of it. I am an essential part of a purpose more vast than my mind can imagine. I know that my day unfolds as an expression of that purpose. I give thanks for divine order in my life. I joyously embrace and rely upon the clarity that expresses in every part of my life. From Revelations 1 verse 8, I am the Alpha and the Omega, said the Lord God, who is and who was and who is to come, the Almighty. Today, I appreciate the divine order and clarity expressing in every part of my life. God bless us.
Heart, please open wide, free the love I am inside. Heart, please open wide, I am. Heart, please open wide, free the love I am inside. Heart, please open wide, I am. Heart, please open wide, free the love I am inside. Heart, please open, I am. One more time. Heart, please open wide, free the love I am inside. Heart, please open, I am.
Okay, this song, I was practicing it the other day, and boy, I felt Daryl so strongly. This is one of the songs that we did in the choir, and I loved it when we sang it, and so I learned it, so I could do it. Thank you, Daryl. I'm the Lord of sea and sky. I have heard my people cry. All who dwell in dark and sin, my hand will save. I who made the stars of night, I will make their darkness bright. Who will bear my light to them? Whom shall I send? Here I am, Lord. Is it I, Lord? I have heard you calling in the night. I will go, Lord, if you lead me. I will hold your people in my hand. I'm the Lord of snow and rain. I have borne my people's pain. I have wept for love of them. They turn away. I will break their hearts of stone. Give them hearts for love alone. I will speak my word to them. Whom shall I send? Here I am. No, sing along. It is I, Lord. I have heard you calling in the night. I will go, Lord, if you lead me.
without further ado, I'd like to introduce Sherry Schultz.
Good morning.
Morning.
I love this sunshine. It's really nice that you have that natural light out the window. Plus I get to see trees. That's really great. So, and it's nice to be with you. It's nice to be back again. A single guy decided that life would be a lot more fun if he had a pet. Oops, I have to do this one. Did you hear the first line? Okay. So he went to the pet store and he told the owner that he wanted to buy an unusual pet. After some discussion, he finally bought a centipede. That's a 100-legged bug that came in a little white box for his little house. And he took the box back home. He found a good location for the box and decided he would start off by taking his new pet to church with him. So he asked the centipede in the box, "Would you like to go to church with me today? We will have a really good time." But there was no answer from his new pet. This bothered him a little bit. But he waited a few minutes and then he asked him again, "How about going to church with me and receiving blessings?" He waited a few minutes more, thinking about the situation. No answer from this new pet. And then he decided to ask one more time, this time putting his face up against the centipede's house and shouting, "Hey in there! Would you like to go to church with me and learn about God?" You're going to love this. And a little voice came out of the box. "I heard you the first time. I'm putting on my shoes." I wondered if you ever had a relationship like that before. Somebody was trying to keep up and wasn't quite getting it. Seattle writer Lindy West wrote her first book last year. It was titled Shrill. And in it, she admits to spending a lot of time, daily time, in online blogs. Anybody a blogger or spend a lot of time online? Okay, so I have a question. Do you know what a troll is? No, we're not talking about the troll under the bridge. There's a different kind of, my daughter probably knows. Rosie knows what a troll is. Well, so I'll just tell you the story. So Lindy creates these blogs, okay? So this is a place online where people can come and read her writing, and she's a writer. That's what she does for a living. People give feedback, sometimes positive. A lot of the time, it's not positive. And at the time she wrote this story, her father had just recently died. She was very close to her dad, so she was grieving. And internet troll, there was an internet troll. These are people who stir things up via social media. This is a very interesting thing to me. I mean, this is fairly new to me. So, let's see. What they do is they create conflict. They go on the blog, they go to a chat room, they create conflict and discord through criticism, sarcasm, rudeness, and chaos. And so in the case of this writer, whose name is Lindy, the troll used a name that was based on her deceased father's name. So the troll knew that her father had just died. And he wrote something to the effect that, I have 3 kids, and this woman was one of 3 kids, adult children. And 2 of the adult children are pretty successful, but one of them was a real insult and a failure and a disappointment. There was more. There was profanity, insults, very, very hurtful.
Wow.
Now, Lindy was accustomed to trolls because she was online all the time. So normally this kind of language wouldn't bother her, but you know, her heart was tender, right? Because her father had just died. So it bothered her a little more this time than it might have otherwise. It was clear that this troll had researched her father's recent death, her name, her father's name, their family constellation, who the members of the family were, and so it wasn't innocent at all. So she sat with this for a while and she told herself, it doesn't matter. But you know how it is sometimes, Cindy and I were just talking about this morning. It's like sometimes something's bothering you, you just say, no, it doesn't bother me. But if you don't take care of it and express yourself, it just sits there and kind of continues, right? And I can be guilty of that. It's like I'll just say, oh no, I'll just go on and get on with it. But sometimes you have to tend to whatever it is that's bothering you, right? So this grief about her dad, she found herself suffering at the hands of this troll. So she wrote about it in her blog, about the troll, with sadness and honesty and anger. And she wrote from her pain, and she used the name that the troll used. A few hours later, after writing this blog, she heard from the troll. And he, it was a male, wrote an apology. He said, he gave a reflection to her, kind of a little background about what got him started trolling on the internet. I mean, this is kind of a predatory thing. He wrote that he closed 2 Gmail accounts that he had created, and he wrote this, I am attacking someone who never harmed me in any way, and for no reason whatsoever. So I'm done being a troll. I made a donation in memory of your dad, and he sent the receipt to her. I guess he scanned the receipt and sent it to her in the internet. He wrote a check to the Cancer Care Alliance. Following Lindy's response, he wrote, thank you for responding with more kindness than I deserve. As she learned this man's backstory, she recognized that this man was suffering. I mean, people don't behave that way if they're happy, do they? So this man was suffering. He had not been a successful person. He hadn't been happy. And he found himself striking out at this author because she had work that she enjoyed. She had a life where she felt fulfilled. She was happy. She had relationships. She had a wicked sense of humor and talent. And this man didn't see that in himself. He didn't see his talent. So she thought about it, and she wondered, as many of us do, what am I going to learn from this experience, right? So she had his email address, and she decided to write him, and she asked, could I interview you on the radio? Months passed, and eventually he wrote, I would be happy to help you in any way possible. So they set up a date for her to call him from a recording studio, and their conversation was aired on the radio. Have you ever heard the show This American Life?
Yep.
So this was on This American Life. I found this story really incredible. I read this story to my daughter one day in the kitchen. She was sitting on the floor, and I was at the table, and I'm reading this story to her. This author said she'd never heard of anyone communicating with a troll, or a troll apologizing or being reflective or remorseful. I mean, this guy felt remorse. Her conversation with him was painful and difficult, but she did it. She turned it into something that was helpful for other people. And as I read this story, I found myself kind of tearing up. And here's why. Maybe you can relate to this. Because what came through this very dark story was light. Something lovely happened. Something healing happened. She didn't pretend it didn't happen. She went right into it. You've heard that expression, the only way out is through. Sometimes we think, oh, well, I'll just ignore it, it'll go away. Well, whatever it is doesn't go away, right? You have to go through it. You have to face whatever it is. So this woman who had been taunted and teased and insulted wrote this, trolls still waste my time and tax my mental health on a daily basis, but honestly, I don't wish them any pain. Their pain is what got us here in the first place. Their pain is what got us here in the first place. So when we are insulted, when someone is unkind or unskillful or mean or rude or hateful or sarcastic, how do we respond to that? Do we respond with raging? Do we respond with accusation? Do we tell them, oh no, that's okay, which is it doesn't work for me. And what if we're curious? What if you're curious about what stimulated that kind of behavior? What if instead of reacting, we hold on to our relatedness with all people? Could we try that? Responding to negativity and unkindness by reaching out. Who does that? Well, we know Jesus did it. We know that Gandhi did it. We know that Dr. King did it. And Lindy West, this author, did it. Over and over again, these are teachers who have taught us to make a connection at all costs. The connection is what's most important. To love, to forgive, to reach out, to feed everyone, enemies on the side of the road, bring them home. We know this, but I ask myself, how can I demonstrate my faith even in the experience of suffering? In the experience of my suffering, in the experience of another person's suffering, can I reach out more frequently and more fearlessly? Am I willing to try this, not from my suffering, but from my commitment to myself and my healing? Then a few weeks after reading this story that really had a big impact on me, do you remember, Rosie? Do you remember that story? She's looking at me like, I don't know what you're talking about. It made a big impact on my daughter, too. And then a few weeks after reading this story, I wake up in the morning to the radio instead of the, buzz, buzz, buzz. And I heard this story, and as I was listening to it, I thought, oh my goodness, that's related to this other story, that Lindy West's story. A group of young people were gathered for an evening meal in someone's yard. It was summertime, and it was a beautiful evening. They had wine, they had dinner. It was getting dark, it was getting late, and it was time to go home. They were laughing, they were enjoying the night air, the company and the food, and as they were standing around the table in the yard getting ready to leave, the man who tells the story stood next to his wife, and out of nowhere, he's standing next to his wife, and he notices the barrel of a gun come between his wife and the woman next to his wife. And he heard the words, they all heard the words, "Give me your money." There was a man in a designer sweatsuit, and he said this to the group. The problem was that none of them had any money. They were young people, used cards. So they had no cash, and everyone was silent. And then one of the women said to the man with the gun, "Why don't you have a glass of wine? It's really good." So she poured a glass for him, and she passed it over to him, and he took it, took a sip, and said, yeah, that is really good wine. There was some cheese on the table that was left from their meal, and they passed it to him. He put his gun away, and he took some of the cheese and the crackers and whatever was there, still very quiet. And the man said, "I think I came to the wrong house." And one of the guests said, "Oh, that's okay, man, that's okay." And then the man said something that they didn't expect. He said, "Can I get a hug?" One of the people gave him a hug, and then another, and then he asked another question. "Could we have a group hug?" This is a true story. They all surrounded this man with a hug. And then he walked away. They went into the house, shut the door, and they all cried. I mean, just imagine. "It's a miracle," one of them said. So here's what I learned. I learned that this practice of meeting hostility was something totally unexpected, like he did, like this group did. Meeting anything differently than what is expected has been studied. This is not just a random thing that happens once in a while. It happens, right? Researchers call it non-complementary behavior. That means something happens and what I do isn't consistent with that behavior. So Lindy reaches out to the troll, and this group of young people, they reach out to the man who had a gun. So in more common language, we might call it flipping the switch. A researcher at the University of Michigan defined non-complementary behavior as, this is the quote, "maintaining warmth and integrity in the face of hostility." Wow. Breaking the pattern. Breaking the pattern. So this shakes up the foundation of negative behavior. It's a reach out and touch instead of a reach out and punch. So this whisper from God to respond differently has been researched and written about, and we've probably all done it. It's like called redirection with little kids, right? And are you willing to try this in your life, even when someone causes you to suffer? That's really the invitation, isn't it? That's the question. So we've heard about this internet troll and someone who intended to rob a group of young people at a backyard party. I think they're both remarkable stories of a calm, a steady calm, a refusal to enter into hostility or fan the flames of separation. These are, to me, magnificent stories of people who are larger than life, who refuse to live with hatred or ignorance. So could we try this? Spirit always provides those growth opportunities. When I was in school at Unity Village, we used, one of my instructors she called them AFGOs, another flipping growth opportunity. So I'm studying this non-complementary behavior, and I had an opportunity to put it into practice. You know how God is. So I was invited by Becky and Matt. They're two Unity musicians. They go around to different churches, and I met them at, I think we were at Kent one Sunday, and they were getting together a bunch of people from different churches all over the South Sound, well, actually all over Puget Sound, to put on a gospel concert up at Seattle Unity. And they said, you should join us. It's going to be really fun. So they had 3 different choir directors, and we were practicing 3 Saturdays, that's it. And then we had a gospel music concert at Seattle Unity and sang at the Folklife Festival. So one Saturday I'm driving to the rehearsal, looking forward to seeing these really terrific, nice people from all these different churches. And I realized that my brake pedal was going all the way to the floor on I-5. And so, you know, you don't want anybody to get in front of you. So you just, I mean, I was imagining like a shield all around me, you know, like, do not get close to me, I'm dangerous. And I tried pumping the brake, and it really wasn't working very well. So I kept my distance, kept praying, and pumped the pedal, and then I got to Seattle Unity, and I went to the rehearsal, and then when it was over, I started brainstorming with friends, what do I do? I mean, I don't feel comfortable getting back in the car and driving, right? And I'm like, you know, 40 miles from home, so what do I do? So it seemed like the best solution was to have my car towed all the way home to my mechanic and just leave it there. And I would drive in the tow truck, right? So I called the tow company. I called my insurance. They called the tow company, blah, blah, blah. And this great, big, giant, huge truck comes, like probably an hour and a half later, really late, with a big, big truck with a trailer on the back. And he was late. He got lost. Somehow he thought that I was in Lake Forest Park. I mean, I was in downtown Seattle, so Lake Forest Park's different. Anyway, he was kind of stressed, and he got my car in the trailer and was starting to drive toward the freeway, and he nearly went through a red light. He was just kind of jittery. I thought, I wonder if this guy is using drugs. I mean, I really was a little bit worried about it, because I'm thinking about we're going to get on I-5. What's better, to be in a car with no brakes or with somebody who's on drugs? I don't know. So it wasn't a good scene either way. So I thought, what am I going to do? I mean, I was in the truck. Like I said, he almost went through a red light. I said, stop the car. I mean, and he did. And then as we were approaching the freeway, to go south to Tacoma would mean turn right, and he was in the left lane to go back to Lake Forest Park. And I really asked God internally, what do I do here? So I told him that I'm a chaplain. I thought maybe that would be helpful. I mean, I am a chaplain. I didn't make that up. And so he mentioned his mother. I told him I worked for hospice, that was my job. And he started to talk about his mother, who is deceased, and how much he loved his mom, and the things they did together, and his whole demeanor changed. Totally changed. And I just thought, he's talking about something that matters to him. He's talking about somebody he loves. And I'm sure his heart rate went down. And I just believe that the inspiration to reach out to him instead of getting angry or anxious or judgmental, all of which I could have done. I mean, all of us could have done that, right? Could have said, what are you doing? Anyway, it worked because it saved both of us and it saved my car. So what would happen if we talked to children about how to deal with conflict without perpetuating it, without smashing somebody back, without being aggressive? What would happen if soldiers reached out, and I imagine some have, to those who are labeled the enemy? What if they tried this? And what about the current political rhetoric? What if we insist that our world leaders, our own country's leadership, what if we stop listening to insults and the dirt digging that has become so commonplace? This climate can change. Do you believe that?
Yes.
This climate can change. So I'm going to ask you, who's on your mind right now? In fact, I'm going to invite you to close your eyes. Is there someone who has been unskillful toward you? Someone who has hurt your feelings? Someone who has been unkind? A relationship that has involved suffering or pain? To paraphrase Jesus, the poor will be with you always. Pain and challenging relationships are inevitable in life. So imagine yourself responding to your person's unkindness or rage in a new way. Can you imagine yourself offering the good wine and the cheese? Changing the course from insult to healing? And how might changing the course change you? And now I'd like to share with you a few words written by a poet. And if you're comfortable keeping your eyes closed, I would invite you to do that. This is called A Brief for the Defense. And it's about those suffering times. Sorrow everywhere, slaughter everywhere. If babies are not starving someplace, they're starving somewhere else. But we enjoy our lives because that's what God wants. Otherwise, the mornings before summer dawn would not be made so fine. The Bengal tiger would not be fashioned so miraculously well. The poor women at the fountain are laughing together between the suffering they have known and the awfulness in their future, smiling and laughing while someone in the village is sick. There is laughter every day in the terrible streets of Calcutta, and the women laugh in the cages of Bombay. If we deny our happiness, resist our satisfaction, we lessen the importance of their deprivation. We must risk delight. We can do without pleasure, but not delight, not enjoyment. We must have the stubbornness to accept our gladness in the ruthless furnace of the world. To make injustice the only measure of our attention is to praise negativity. If the locomotive of God runs us down, we should give thanks that the end had magnitude. We must admit there will be music despite everything. And so we stand at the prow again of a small ship, anchored late at night in the tiny port, looking over to the sleeping island. The waterfront is 3 shuttered cafes and 1 naked light burning. To hear the faint sound of oars in the silence as a rowboat comes slowly out and then goes back is truly worth all the years of sorrow. that are to come. So I invite you to just take a deep breath and notice whatever words touched you, whatever message of healing touched you, whatever person may have crossed your mind, whatever loved one may have hurt your feelings. And breathe in deep the truth. We enjoy our lives because that's what God wants. Let's sit in the silence for just a moment. Together we can choose to be students of non-complementary behavior, to break the cycle of unhappiness and rudeness and unskillfulness, to be the light of the world. In the coming week, there may be a reason and a chance to change the course. So wiggle your toes and wiggle your fingers and open your eyes to this day. Faced with someone else's pain or someone else's suffering, we can make a choice for healing. And I invite you to try this. Do I hear an amen?
Amen.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm all tangled up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What's new? I had planned to do another song today, but
There it is, that's the other song.
but when I knew that it was going to be a gorgeous day, I changed my mind. So if I can find it.
Yeah, faith.
And please join in on the chorus. I know you will anyway. Such a feeling's coming over me. There is wonder in most everything I see. Not a cloud in the sky, got the sun in my eyes. Won't be surprised if it's a dream. Everything I want the world to be is now coming true, especially for me. And the reason it's clear, it's because you are here. You're the nearest thing to heaven that I've seen. I'm on the top of the world looking down on creation, and the only explanation I can find is a love that I've found ever since you've been around. Your love puts me at the top of the world. Something in the wind has learned my name, and it's telling me that things are not the same. In the leaves on the trees and the touch of the breeze, there's a pleasing sense of happiness for me. There is only one wish on my mind. When this day is through, I hope that I will find that tomorrow will be just the same for you and me. All I need will be mine if you are here. I'm on the
top of the world, looking down on creation, and the only explanation I can find is the love that I found ever since you've been around. Your love puts me at the top of the world. I'm on the top of the world, looking down on creation, and the only explanation that I found is the love that I found ever since you've been around. Your love puts me at the top of the world.
Thank you. Well, now it's time for our offering. And as you're preparing your tithes and love offerings today, think of how blessed you are, and as you're writing your check or giving your gift, send your blessings out.
Hey, good job.
Grateful that I can light hands up.
I'll pass this down.
Excuse me. And our musicians sing it, lead us in I Am So Blessed.
Good job.
And you're welcome to light candles.
I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
Millie needs it.
Thank you. And could we get the ushers and our board person of the week? Now, Debbie's gonna act as our chaplain of the week and our
I'll use both
board
hands.
for blessing of the times. So we'll say what's on the screen there together.
Together we dedicate these gifts in service to the highest mission, recognizing and celebrating our oneness with God. We joyfully and freely participate in the law of circulation, of giving and receiving, knowing God is source, the source of all good. We are grateful.
Thank you. So, we will start with our food for life bag, which we do every week.
Oh, never mind, you got another one. I forgot it, I'll double fill for next week. I left it at home, it was full.
To bring back and fill with food for our Food for Life program. So does anybody want to take this?
Oh, folks.
Come on.
You don't need one of these to bring a bag of food. So if there's several of you that want to bring extra, then
Do what your heart says. No, I have a bag at home somewhere.
okay, thank you, Jane.
Start them. I know.
Okay, it's time for
Nice.
good news of the good news, and I'm going to start with some good news. My grandchildren might come home today, so I might have them back home. Not that I ever want them near me. Is there anybody else that has some good news?
Confiscate your mic.
Oh,
It's a little low.
now Mr. Tall Guy here.
Okay, I'll let Ray. Actually, I wanted to talk about one of the songs today. I think almost all of you know that a little more than 1 year ago on April 30th, my beloved wife Lois had a massive heart attack in Pendleton, Oregon. And 4 o'clock in the morning, she woke me up and said, call 911. And within moments, they were there, and within another 5 or 10 minutes, we were at the hospital in Pendleton, where they determined that they didn't have anybody who could work with her because she was so bad off that they put her on a helicopter to Tri-Cities. And then they flew her out of there. I had to go get out of the motel room and drive up there. When I got there, I found out that they did have a doctor there that was knowledgeable enough to work on her, but he was already in the operating room, so they sent her to Seattle. And so I'm pulling away from this hospital in the Tri-Cities area, and I have this CD on of Lori Drucker, and the first song that comes up is Thank You for This Day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. And I turned that into a mantra. Every time it would end, I'd hit repeat and sing along with us. And I played that song and listened to that song and took that song into my heart every second on the way to Seattle. And it was a long way, but it is what got me there. It kept hope in my heart. It kept the love alive in my heart. And today I find out from Lois that her favorite part of the song is Thank You for This Life, Spirit. So anyway, thank you, God. Thank you.
And I watched Lois walk in today. She carries a cane with her, and I mean carries it. She doesn't walk with it, she carries it. Anybody else with some good news?
I'm gonna say something about my son. I've been praying, he would find a new girlfriend. And somebody came along in his life, and they're getting along great, and I prayed God that he would find somebody, because the last one wasn't too good with him. She's very smart, She works in a museum, and they get along great. So I prayed that someone would come into his life, and he finally found somebody. So I thank God.
Yeah.
So now it's time to welcome our wonderful, wonderful child.
What, talk so much?
Walking in the light, in the light, in the light. You are walking in the light of God. In the light, 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 in the light of God.
Lucky you.
What did we do today?
Today we went through, we got, the lending library was donated to us from Northwest Region. So I went through the box today and found Unity's 5 basic principles.
Cool.
So we started on the very initial lesson, which is there's only one power and one presence in the world. So it has a story of King Nebuchadnezzar and this golden statue that he insisted that people worship. And there were 3 men that chose not to worship it, who were then thrown into a fiery furnace. And when he looked into the furnace, he saw 4 men. And then the 3 men walked out unscathed from the furnace. Then the booklet gives the metaphysical interpretation and explains that the 3 represent a test of faith, and that there was only one power and one presence in the world, and God would be with them wherever they were. So I asked Jay, after we discussed the whole story and what that represents, and then the 4th man in the fire represents the presence of God that is always with us, our I am presence. So as we talked about this, I asked Jay, how did he feel about that? What does that mean to him? So what did you write at the top of the paper?
With God, I am invincible.
All right.
My guy is saying, nothing can stop me.
All right. That's right.
Very
The 18th.
We love you, we bless you, and we appreciate you just the way you are.
And now if you could all stand and join hands for the peace song.
Well, how good. Here. There you go.
Turn around. There. Here, there's
You get it now.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. The light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are,